Stephen and I are about to dive into the explore step. So context is that I have already done the greet step. We've come in the front door. Stephen, here's what's going to happen today. We're going to go through these steps. And now we're standing at his furnace, which has failed. That's the only context that I have. That's why I'm out there for the call. He has said in his intent, when I asked him, sounds like something you want to get fixed today, he said, yes, absolutely. And so here we are now standing at the furnace. That's where we're picking up the call. So, Stephen, as we stand here and looking at the furnace, so this thing has failed today, and that's uncomfortable, and I feel bad for you.
It's always -12 outside.
That's when they like to fail. It's like they're planned that way.
That's right.
I didn't do it, I promise. All right. So tell me a little bit about this. Do you know approximately how old this furnace is?
Yeah, it's 7 years old.
7 years old. Okay. And have you lived in the house the whole 7 years?
We have.
Okay, so did you build this house?
No, it was built in the 1890s, but it was a complete remodel.
Gosh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So 1890s, wow,
Yeah.
beautiful. That's incredible. And then it was completely remodeled. So when you moved in, the furnace was brand new.
Brand new.
So you've had you've had this nice furnace running for 7 years, and now it fails on
It
you.
croaked, yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. Have you had any other work done to it? Do you get anyone come out to do maintenance on it?
No, we actually had our energy company come by and install a little trip meter so that during the high usage times, it actually throttles down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's probably more in the air conditioning season then?
Yeah.
And so you'll get those times when everyone's... Okay, so that's it. They've come out, they've installed that little meter.
Yeah.
Other than that, you haven't done any work to this.
No
air
work.
conditioning outside either?
No, yes, it is.
And that's the same age and the same story?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right, good. Well, that gives me some context. At least I know that you've got a good, reliable system on here.
Yeah.
That's important. Now, so tell me about the way the system was working when it was working. So let's put it on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being every room in the house is exactly the right temperature all the time, and I never know that thing's even running, it's so quiet. 1 is like, if you're standing next to the raging fire, you're warm. Other than that, you're kind of in trouble. What would you rank your system on?
I'd give it a 7.
Give it a 7. Okay, so
Yeah.
why so high? What do you like about
It's
it?
pretty efficient, but there are some rooms throughout the house that are colder than others.
What rooms are those?
So my daughter's room on
Okay.
the second floor,
Yep.
it's facing the street. That one gets cold, and then in the kitchen as well.
Okay. What's your daughter's name?
Nyla.
Nyla.
Yeah.
How many kids do you have?
2.
2.
Yep.
Who's the other one?
Aria.
Aria.
Yep. Nyla's the
Beautiful
oldest, and
names.
Aria's. Thank you.
Yeah. What's your wife's name?
Fatima.
Fatima.
Yep.
Amazing. And so are they all here today? Are they
No, off to school
work
and at work. Yeah. They stuck me with.
Got it. Got it. So Nyla's room is the coldest one.
Yeah.
So what do you do to try to mitigate that?
We don't. We have this
Blankets.
thermostat. That's it. We have a thermostat that tells us which room is running what temperature.
Okay.
And hers is always the coldest.
Okay, so you got like sensors inside each of those rooms.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
It's pretty sweet. Yeah.
Does that also control the temperature of the home? Are you able to do that from your
Yes.
thermostat? How do you like that?
I love it. It's
That's pretty
sweet.
cool, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Was that all here when you moved in?
No, we installed it
Oh,
later.
okay,
Yep.
cool. Yeah, so that's a fun thing to do. So you've got the Wi-Fi enabled and temperature. So how much different is that room than the others?
It's about 3 to 4 degrees.
That's significant.
Yeah.
All right, so now again, your home is built in the 1890s. Lots of stuff is buried behind plaster and drywall, and so I would love to tell you that we can fix that and make that room 100% the same as the others. We're going to investigate that and find out if there's a possibility of doing that.
Okay.
Just because that's always one of the things that we look at.
Okay.
So that gives me a good handle. So other than that, if so you're rating your system at a 7 right now. What would make it an 8 or a 9?
I think to your point, if all the rooms are running at the same temperature, that would be great. And then if it were working too.
Yes. Yeah, that always raises the ranking a little bit. What about Fatima? If she was here and we imagined her having this conversation on the scale of 1 to 10, what do you think she'd rate the system?
I think she rated a 7 too.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So overall, you're pretty happy with it? Nothing
we are.
crazy
Yeah.
going on there? Okay. All right, so well, I have been able to take a look at it, and I got a pretty good handle on what's going on with the system. Now, I do want to let you know that, these furnaces, this is a mechanical chain, right? So these things all link together, all the components link together, and when they're all connected, it works. Now, the moment something breaks, you get this sort of thing that happens, right? The thing just dies. That's how it tells you that it doesn't work, is one of the links are broken and they all do the same thing. If a link breaks, the thing is off.
Understood.
So if I fix that link today, that's what I would endeavor to do, and I'll give you that option here soon. That will get us up and running again, but what I don't know is what's the next weakest link. And now that you're 7 years old, they are starting to age. So I'm going to give you a full assessment of that. That's part of my Thor evaluation.
Okay.
Okay. So you'll just have a picture of what are the worn and questionable links. I can't predict which one's going to fail next, although I just know that once we make this one strong again, there's a next weakest link somewhere in that chain. That make sense?
Yes, it does.
So that's sort of that. What questions do you have for me here, standing at the furnace? So
Nothing at this time.
So filtration, tell me a little bit about the filter on the system.
Yeah, so I like to install the 3M filters. They last for about 3 months.
Yep.
And I have a little notification on my smart device.
That's beautiful.
And it just triggers me to go.
Could you train all of my customers, please?
So,
You would be shocked at how many people I go in their home and say, tell me about the filter. And they go, there's a filter. So that's refreshing. So every 3 months or so,
Yeah.
you change it? All right. Very good. And how is that for the house, generally speaking? Do you find there's a lot of dust?
I think it does a sufficient job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody with asthma or allergies, any sort of
No,
breathing conditions
no,
like that?
no.
Okay. Beautiful. That's really good. So then you've got a really good solution here, filtration-wise.
I think so.
I'm happy with that. So, and again, looked inside the system now. You know, I took this wet wipe, and when I wiped on the inside, there is still some dust that's sticking to the inside of this. So 7 years down the road, if no one having done a thorough maintenance or cleaning on this, that's what's going to happen, right? Some of that's going to get through.
Okay.
That make sense?
Yes, it does.
So we'll look at that as well when we get into those options. So I've got a good handle on what's going on here.
Okay.
So that sort of takes care of the first step of the process here, is take a look at the situation. Right now we're going to go ahead and do this thorough evaluation of the entire system. So the next thing I'd actually like to see is we're going to step out into the cold for a moment. I'm just going to go out. You don't have to come out there if you don't want to.
Okay.
But I'm going to run out there and just check that the air conditioner. Just take a look at that. So just before I do that, let me ask you a couple of questions about that. So as far as the location of it, are you satisfied with where it is?
Yeah.
In relationship to windows and yard area and all that?
We're in a historic area, and so we have to make sure that it's not visible from the street.
Okay, so it's where it needs to be.
Yeah.
Good. Any problems with it? Is it sagging? Any leaning?
No,
Anything like
not that
that?
I'm aware of. No.
Okay, so everything seems to be good. No problems with that one?
No, not at all.
Good. Excellent. Excellent. Well, so that's going to be really good. So why don't you take me then to the thermostat? Let's use that location for our next stop. We'll take a visit there.
Perfect.
And then along the way, we'll visit some of the hot air, cold air locations.
Okay.
I'll just kind of get a map of where the ductwork is working through the house. So I got that kind of in my mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect.
All right. Show me to the thermostat.
All right, here we are.
So thermostat looks beautiful. You've got this all set up on your phones, and you got all the sensors in the house. This is a really nice system.
Oh, thank
Is there anything else here that you'd like to see different? Is there anything about it that you don't like? Is there
No,
love or hate about
no.
the way the system works?
We're really happy with
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
thought
it's
that's
pretty
probably the case. So as we went through and we looked at where the hot and cold supplies are in the house, of course, most of the time there's one in the hallway like this. This is a rather large one. And that's where the air is coming back to the furnace. So when it's breathing, your furnace is the lungs of the home, right? So when it's breathing, all of the air that goes into it has to come in through these. Now there's only a couple of these. And that's usually the way they, especially in an older home like this, it's been retrofit to this kind of a system.
Okay.
And so it's hard sometimes to get these locations everywhere.
Okay.
So it is, that's part of why your upper floor is not, staying the same temperature, because we're having a hard time getting air from it.
Got it.
So there's not a whole lot that we can do with that. Now, when I did look at the ductwork and the way it's configured, I can increase the size of the pipe that runs before it takes off to that second level.
Okay.
So that's going to help.
Okay.
I'm not going to say that it's going to make it 100%, but I love that you have the sensors in each room. So it might just give us enough to get a degree or two warmer.
Oh, perfect.
That would be great. So I'll give you some options on that.
Okay.
Aside from that, everything looks really good. You got a really great system here. You should be happy with it.
Yeah.
7 years with no breakdowns, that's a really good thing. So,
Okay. Okay.
So what questions do you have for me?
None at this time.
Okay. All right. So let me give you kind of a sense of, what things are going to cost. I'm going to head out to my truck in a moment and we'll do that work, but I just want to kind of let you know this. If we did everything we've talked about today, make, all the worn and questionable links that we've found in the system that are possibly, that might need some attention, get that bedroom nice and warm, you know, a couple of those things. And we took care of all of that. We'd probably be looking at somewhere in the neighborhood, I don't know, like $4,000.
Oh, okay.
If we just fix it today, just get it up and running again, probably going to be more like 700-800-ish.
Okay.
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 And there'll be some choices in between. You can kind of pick and choose what you'd like to have done, and I'll have all that for you in a couple moments.
Okay. All right.
Makes
Great.
sense?
Yep. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, no worries. So my next step is to head out to my truck. I'll be out there for about maybe 10 or 15 minutes,
Okay.
and I'm going to actually write up some options for you, and you're going to put some hard and fast numbers down.
Okay.
And then I'll come back in and we'll talk those through.
All right. Well, I'll be in my office.
Okay, very good.
All right.
So did you want me to just knock on the door when I come back in?
That'd be great.
All right. And this is a great time if you wanted to have a conversation with Fatima and just let her know what we've talked about. In fact, often when I come back in, I have customers that want to have their significant other on FaceTime or even speakerphone.
Okay.
So we can walk through the options. She can be part of that conversation.
That's perfect.
She's available.
All right. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Perfect.
Thank you. So what you just witnessed was the explore step. Stephen and I started at his furnace, and you'll notice that the questions at the furnace took me farther than just the furnace. So I'm actually beginning the thorough evaluation. You'll notice that I did nothing technical in the video. You'll do all the technical stuff. You'll complete your thorough evaluation checklist if you've got that, if you're using the forms provided by us, or if you've got your own. That will all take place. The important part of this explore step is the quality of the questions that you're asking the customer. And what you'll notice about what took place with Stephen and I, that was unrehearsed. So we just did that. I told him, answer the questions that I ask you as if I was standing in your home. Answer them honestly and realistically, and he did. And I got really great answers to my questions as I went through that. That's the important piece of this explore step, is asking those questions. Then I did price transparency. I offered a transition as I went out to my truck and all of those little components. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I want, when this video is done, for you, whoever's watching this, if you're in a group or if you're by yourself, I want you to do your own debrief. And I want you to identify what are the things that you saw happen inside that video that you'd like to be able to do. And that might involve rewinding it, writing down some of the types of questions that I asked, the scale of 1 to 10, imagine your spouse was here. There's a bunch of those. So think about which ones of those would work for you. And then write that down and take that with you and implement at least 3 new questions today and in every call that you run this week. And just start to bring them in. And it might be as simple as the ones that I listed, the scale of 1 to 10, imagine your spouse was here, and get back out into the world doing your explore step with some of those new tools in your hands.